Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And you all know that I'm still searching for him. Hello, everybody. This is David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. I'm coming to you today to ask for your help, to continue your help that you have been giving since I arrived here on June the 26th of last year, 2021. You all have been just been extraordinarily gracious to me and my family, coming out to the searches, donating to the GoFundMe, and also just help passing out information, word of mouth through the flyer distribution and things like that. So I'm really grateful. Coming to make a quick video here, asking you guys to, like I said, to continue support. I decided to put a pause on the searches out there in the desert. My son, geologist Daniel Robinson, he was out there on June the 23rd, where he went missing out there in that desert out there in Buckeye, Arizona. Since then, like I said, I've been searching for my son. I have conducted over 30 some weeks of searches with the aid of volunteers. We have found human remains out there on the ground, hopefully to bring some closure to some families that's out there. But this fight is continuing going. Like I said, I had to make a hard decision the other day to cut the searches down to a pause for right now until I get some things reorganized and also some better ways that we can search. Again, this is not a stop. I am not stopping my efforts to find my son. I still had to go out in that desert to fight for him. You can imagine it's a difficult choice that I had to make. But I had to make that choice. The choice is to, like I said, to get this searches up and running the proper way. As you know, some may know that I had to come down from being out there weekly and also sometimes during the week to cutting the searches down to once every other week. And then now I have to do a pause. And all of that came from lack of funding. I had to, kind of build up the funding again. I have a lot of work to do. That my son's vehicle was found out there in that desert out there in a ravine, not about 3 miles away from where he was last seen at a well site. In that ravine, is his vehicle, right? Just this picture right here is the picture of his vehicle. And outside of that vehicle, about 3 feet away from the vehicle, was everything my son was wearing, from his underwear, socks, everything's wearing on his body, his clothes, everything in a pile, about 3 feet away from the vehicle. His safety vest, you can see it here. On the side here, right there, safety vest on the ground, and that was another foot away from the pile of clothing. So, all that stuff had to have forensics work done to it. This photo here that I have behind me, the photo itself came from the Buckeye Police Department, who was in charge of my son's case. They didn't do any forensics work at the scene. Those are the things that I had to have done. I had to have forensics work done on the, like I said, safety vest here, also the clothing up there in that pile, and also the vehicle itself. As you know, the vehicle had red transfer paint on the passenger side. That had to be tested. You also know that his wallet was found in his pants pocket in that pile. That had to be tested. Again, the whole pile of clothing, the safety vest had to be forensically tested. Also, when it comes to the vehicle itself, we already had an accident reconstructionist that I hired. He gave us all the information that we needed about the vehicle itself, the damage that didn't make. He's an accident reconstruction. The damage on the vehicle didn't match the terrain. Like I said, the red transfer paint didn't come from that terrain. So that suggests the vehicle was crashed somewhere else. There was 11 additional miles on the vehicle after the first crash. It suggests to have multiple crashes. And also, like I said, it was driven 11 additional miles, and it was over 46 initial cycles after the vehicle was wrecked. All the airbags are deployed. So, of course, inside the vehicle, I had to get the airbags tested for DNA. I did request the Buckeye Police Department to do fingerprinting on that vehicle. They, under my request, did it a day later, did some fingerprinting, but I haven't gotten the results of that. So I had to get the fingerprinting done. I had to get the forensics, like I said, on the airbags to swabbing the entire vehicle, getting the fibers and everything I can, information to find out if my son was the only person in that vehicle and who else. So those things like that. So in a long story short is that because of that, all the work that I had to do on this vehicle forensically, I had to cut the searches down to a pause. You guys know I do have a foundation that's coming up, the Daniel Robinson Foundation, and that will be coming really soon here. And that's you guys, please, the same people you supported right here for the searches and to the, like I said, I hear the searches, to the flyer distributions, to everything you have done so far. Just continue to help. I mean, like I say, I'm getting this foundation off the ground. I would need your help. You can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and you can fill out other ways you can help on the top, up there at the top. And you can put your skill sets in, and then the team, we will put all that together. And maybe you can help out there with the foundation. You can help with the future search for my son that's coming up pretty soon back out in that desert again. And also be able to help other families. So the goal is the foundation is to help other families along with helping find my son. So you continue to give my family prayers and the love support. I have the banner on the bottom of the screen here with the anonymous tip line. If you guys have any tips, anything, please utilize that tip line. It's 844-602-0660. You can call it 24 hours, 7 days a week. I pay for that service. You call it 24 hours, 7 days a week. Live operators will take your call. You can stay anonymous or non-anonymous. You also, if you don't want to talk to anybody, you can text the word tip. Just like on the bottom of the screen there, text the word tip to that number, and you can stay anonymous if you want to stay anonymous. If you want to contact me direct for any calls, you want to contact me direct, maybe you want to give a comment, maybe you want to share something, or, even if you have a tip, so I cannot provide you being anonymous through this number you see scrolling on the bottom, unless you have a burner phone or something, but I would not be able to provide that anonymous tip line for you on that number. But you can leave one there. I'm just trying, my goal is to bring my son home. If you want to tell me directly, yes, please do so by all means. And all else fails, you guys can always go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. That's pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. All the information that you need is right here on this website. And you can, find out other ways you can help, to donating, to sign a petition. You guys definitely, if you sign that petition, that really work. Again, special operations desert searches are temporarily paused until further notice. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. For everybody who came out, even if you came out one day, I really appreciate you coming out to help out there in that desert. Some of you guys been out there last summer, in the summertime when the weather was very hot. And you stayed out there with me always at 4 o'clock in the evening. We started at 5:45 in the morning, and we stayed out there all day. You guys, like I say, are champions. I love you. I've come to call you my extended family, and I still mean that. I really appreciate you guys, all your effort and help, and the ones that still continue to help. So thank you so much. You can, like I said, you can volunteer in other ways, and then temporarily, you can pass out these flyers. I have a PDF tab on there. You want to make the flyers yourself. If you can, please make them the size of a postcard. But if not, just go ahead and make those flyers, and you can put them out there. I really appreciate it. Because right now, you guys have been signing a petition. Right now, I checked this morning, it's 114,113 and counting. Those, again, I say those numbers are people. They are not just numbers or some signature. That is you. That is you. When you sign that petition, you have a voice in this case. So this case have grown from trying to put pressure on the Buckeye Police Department to do more, to trying to bring some changes in the way that policing approach missing persons. Again, my thought of that, the first 24 hours or 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours is most crucial. And also that, they need to start looking at all missing person cases, start thinking the worst first, and then work your way backwards to prove that this person left. Like they said on my son, on the first day my son went missing, their first initial thought is he's a grown man. They stopped the flight. Think about this. They stopped the helicopter flight to go search for my son out there in the desert after they believed that he had some kind of issue mentally. They stopped the searches because they say he's a grown man. And if he want to disappear, he can if he want to. Nobody didn't tell him that. They'd assume that, and that's the way police shouldn't work. There shouldn't be no assumptions there. They need to be blindfolded like the law says it should be, and they should always just take the advice of the family member, not the co-workers, the family members who says, hey, you need to go out there search for my loved one. They're not here to speak for themselves. When a person take themselves out of, they're grown, but when they take themselves out of a situation and just go disappear, they take themselves out of adulthood in a sense, and they should be turned over to the family's decision about them because they're not speaking for themselves. So they have never let anybody know what they're doing and things like that. But in my son's case, yes, he would have told his family when he traveled. So thank you guys for coming out and your support. I'm always grateful when you guys support. You have been such a great help since I've been here in Arizona. Since people who is not here in Arizona, definitely been a great help. Also with the YouTube, please help find Daniel. Please help find Daniel YouTube channel, the Twitter page. Please help find number 4. Please help find the number 4. You can support there. You can go to TikTok. Please help find Daniel, and also the Facebook page. Please help find Daniel. You guys can share, like, and subscribe to those channels and those social media pages, and that would help me get my son's story out there, because that's the only thing I'm really pushing really hard is to get the story out there to the public, because there may be somebody out there somewhere who may have seen something, heard something, they can actually say something. And just really grateful for your help. Also, I will this weekend I will be speaking at the CrimeCon event in Las Vegas, and if you guys can be aware of that, you guys want to tune in to the CrimeCon, go to crimecon.com. You can go under the speaker tab and you can see my photo there with the information there, the bio, where you can read that. And also, if you want to participate, you also can come out to Vegas to participate, be a part of that event. But I want to again say thank you all for being here and everything you have done, and watching, just supporting everywhere you can. You're supporting here on the website to, the YouTube channels. Like I said, the Q&As I do in the mornings every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Really grateful. But I can tell you again, I am not stopping from searching for my son. You guys, I'm only stopping the organized searches, just putting that on pause for right now. And that's just on pause. As in me searching for my son, I'm going to continually be out there searching for my son, whether I'm out there in the desert or whether I'm out here in the city, doing what I do, passing out the word, make sure I'm out there doing everything I can to find my son. So the search for Daniel is not over. Again, I'm only putting a pause on the desert searches out there for right now. When I come back with those searches, we have some different things going on where you guys, we can utilize the search a lot better. We'd be more productive and things like that. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this broadcast. I really appreciate it.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And I'm still here searching for him. Thank you all for coming into tonight's Q&A prime time. I'm David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. My son went missing on June the 23rd out there in Buckeye, Arizona, from his work site. He was hired on after coming out of college. He's hired on here in Phoenix. He came out to live out in Phoenix, landed his first job immediately after college. And he was hired on as a field geologist, also called a hydrogeologist with an engineering company. And what he does is go out to check the viability of wells in the deserts of Arizona, different areas, different cities. What it is, the requirements in the law states that any community that's built here, most communities built here in Arizona, they must have wells, and these wells must produce at least 100 years of water in order for a community to be built. The community is coming in from the House Hughes organization in the area where my son went missing. So his job was to go out there to check those viabilities of wells to see if that area is producing those type of water. And so he was out there on June 23rd doing just that. He left one well site that was southeast of where the second well site was, but he eventually made it second well site roughly, I was told, roughly around 9 o'clock that morning. There was a worker from a company called Weber that met my son out there on Sun Valley Parkway Road. This worker from Weber is already at the well site that morning. He met my son out there on the road and directed him into that well site. They went out west for about a mile into that desert, and then they had to go north for another 2 miles in that desert to make it to this work site, this well site. Once they arrived at the well site, they had a 10-minute brief conversation for about 10 minutes. And according to this worker, my son ended up waving off to him, getting in the vehicle, and drove off where he has never been seen again. This worker said that is out on his own accord, or someone told him to from the job, Daniel's job. But either or, he went to go look for Daniel, and he noticed that Daniel tracks, his tire tracks. Noticed his tire tracks, so he stayed left of those tire tracks to make sure he didn't disturb them, because he said he knew that this case would become national and that the police was going to come looking. He also said that he got to a gate where he went into a gate, he got to a T-junction where he noticed that my son's tracks went out west, further out into the desert. He then followed those tracks, which led him to a gate. And once he got to that gate, he went through that gate, and he traveled for another mile or so before he ended up getting out his vehicles and walking around. And then he ended up on top of the hill to see if, from a vantage point, if he could see Dan's vehicle out there. He even said that he painted some rocks out there with red paint so he can direct the law enforcement into where these tracks led him. So again, my son had been missing since June 23rd. And the way the missing person report was put in is because I put it in. The day that my son went missing, I got a call from my daughter, who told me that one of Daniel's coworkers came to her apartment inquiring about him. She thought that was strange, being that she never told the people where she lived. He remembered because Daniel brought him there before to his sister's house. But she alerted me about it. I had her to check Daniel's apartment to see if he was there. In the meantime, we made phone calls. Of course, Daniel would not answer his phone. I did notice, and eventually ended up noticing the time difference from South Carolina to here in Arizona. It was over 6 hours since Daniel was last seen, with all the due diligence I have done, talking to the job and things like that, getting the information I could. And when I noticed it was over that 6 hours, I knew immediately that something was wrong. And this is well out of the ordinary for Daniel. So I was able to try to put a police report in. At the time, I couldn't do it. By the time I talked to Tempe Police Department, who told me I had to go to Buckeye Police Department, since that's the last area, this White Tank Mountains area that he was seeing. I had to wait. When I tried to put a report in, they told me I had to wait 3 additional hours before I can actually put the report in, because they have a 12-hour report time. So I was able to sit around and wait for that 12-hour mark, and then I put the report in, and from there, that's when the Buckeye Police Department Officer Cruz went out to Sun Valley Parkway. I didn't know about Sun Valley Parkway until I learned more about like I said, the White Tank Mountains area. And I was really happy to hear that he's going to go on that road out there in the area to check and see if Daniel was stuck on the side of the road with his vehicle. He went up and down Sun Valley Parkway. It's also called a road to nowhere, and nicknamed Road to Nowhere. And he checked the area. I waited all night. Been doing my due diligence still, talking to the coworkers, talking to the officer, trying to get all the information I can, having them try to get them to put Daniel into their database and things like that, which took a while, took a long time. It took actually the next day before that happened. And when that later that night, when I found out through information that not only Daniel was missing, the job site itself was not off on Sun Valley Parkway. It was off of Sun Valley Parkway in the desert. When I realized that, I asked them to take a flight out there to see if they can search for Daniel. Of course, the officer told me they couldn't do it because it's nighttime, and they would do it in the morning. They would have a helicopter go out. That was good enough for me at the time. It wasn't good enough, but it was good enough being that they explained the reasons why. Paced the floor all night until the next morning. And when I get a call back from the officer who's taking the Officer Cruz's place, his last name was Haley, I believe it was, and he told me that he was going to have a helicopter go out and search for Daniel. Really relieved to hear that. Maybe they get the answers I need. I'm all the way in South Carolina. Then I end up getting a call an hour later saying, no, they told me they were going to have a flight out there. His higher up said it was unauthorized because Daniel is a grown man. If he want to disappear, he can if he want to. When I heard that, it's really ridiculous to me. It made me very angry. I started losing it, and I decided to grab everything I can, and I decided to do it myself because I knew immediately that this department was not going to search for my son. So I've been out here to Arizona. By the time I made it here, almost 3 days later, that's when I got a call that the Buckeye Police Department was doing this Firebird helicopter search because of whatever my auntie said to them from Philly. They said they was going to do it. And then when I got here, of course, everything started from that point. I ended up starting my own searches, my own investigations, worked with the Buckeye Police Department as much as I could at the time until this vehicle showed up. When the vehicle showed up, I was out there still getting my searches every week with the volunteers. When the vehicle showed up, everything in relations to me and the department of the Buckeye Police Department has changed our relationship, meaning that once the vehicle showed up right here in this ravine, I got the story behind it, what happened. I got the theory of the Buckeye Police Department, which in turn immediately raised concerns to me, and I had to get a second opinion. I was able to hire my own private investigator, who is a resident reconstructionist, who found a sleuth of a whole bunch of evidence. Some of the evidence came from the data pool of the Buckeye Police Department. They turned all the stuff over to him. They turned everything over to me. Told me they had no investigation. Well, told me they had no leads to follow. They put it out on the social media page. We have that. They also told my investigator that they didn't have any investigation. They weren't investigating at all. So they didn't do any type of investigation. They gave you everything. This whole thing in their book was closed. It wasn't closed in mine. Once we found all the evidence, physical evidence to everything we had, even the evidence that they pulled from that black box data, we turned it back into the Buckeye Police Department. Once we did that, that's when our relationship changed. They stopped talking to me as a father. They stopped dealing with me in those kind of ways. They wanted to double down on their own theory. They didn't like what the investigator found physical evidence, so they decided to hire their own private investigator and hire him as a reconstructionist, which we already had one, which was mine. They didn't like I said, what he said, so they got theirs to say what they want him to say, in my opinion, because this guy have never seen my son's vehicle, never touched his clothes, never touched the vehicle, never seen anything, but had a whole report about a vehicle, what happened to a vehicle that he never seen. So those are the type of things that would change the relationship between me and that department. I realized they would do anything and everything they can to keep me from getting the answers that I'm looking for, in my opinion. And I've been fighting for that for those answers since. I've been fighting to get other departments involved. even from the FBI to the Attorney General's office, you can name it. Because you guys can look at that scene right here behind me. You see the clothing sitting over here on the side over here, and you know that if it was your child or it was an officer there, the FBI would not have been saying things to me like, even though this vehicle I found out is on federal lands, the FBI told me that it still is Buckeye's job to police the federal land. So I don't read that. I don't understand how that jurisdiction can be from an FBI standpoint. Buckeye can overrule a federal land. I'm not sure, but that's some of the things that be told to me as a father to, I guess, to let me shut up and go home, and I would not. I will still keep on fighting for my son, and I'm going to continue to be here in the gap for my family. So I brought this Q&A tonight for you guys because I want to also highlight the little video that I had put in before I'm doing this Q&A. You guys, if you watch that, that video was a pre-recorded at the beginning of this. That pre-recorded is to talk about the searches. I have decided to put a pause on the searches for many reasons. And one of the things I wanted to say that I did say on that pre-recorded that probably been taken out of misconception and been taken out of order is that, the volunteers, our searches, when I conducted my searches out in the summer, we had a command center, we had everything we need. We had, with the safety features, we also always have the safety briefings and things like that. So everything is in order. But over time, we start losing funding. We start losing the command center. We start losing certain things. We start losing our ability to get information out to the volunteers and things like that. That started hurting the searches really bad. I had to do some restructure of those type of things there. So sometimes that means that you have to kind of start over in a sense. So I'm getting some things restructured, getting it redone. And also, like I said, the funding. The funding is another thing that causes some of that pause. As you know, in the past, like I said on that pre-recorded, I started off having searches every week, even during the weekdays. And I eventually had to start bringing it down to every other week, And then it got to a point now, like I said, I had to put a pause. So it's a lot of many reasons for that. I do have the volunteers in mind. Everybody who come out to the searches from day one has always been a champion in everything I have done here. You all are family to me. I love you to death. I really love you very much. And I'm really grateful that you all decided out to take your Saturdays out, your weekdays, and come out there and search out there in the sun, in that sun with me for my son. And you took on Daniel just like he's your child, and I'm really grateful he's your family member, and I'm grateful for you guys have done that. Like I said, the searches was doing very well. We got a lot of ground covered. We had a lot of volunteers. And since then, I have volunteers that say, "Hey, I didn't know you even have a search." Saying because we had to break down the communications, we had to break down in a lot of things, and so it's time to get those things back in order, and also to make sure that you guys know the searches was going well. It just that like I said, some restructurings had to be done, and also do things in a different way. So bear in with me. I'm not giving up on my son. I'm not stopping the searches at all. It just had to be on a pause for right now. That don't stop me from going out in that desert out there to search for my son, because that's what I can do. But I'm not asking you guys to do that. I have an organized, that's what I organized search, and I have that organized search for a reason. And you guys need to know that the organized search is just on pause for now. We will get that back up. I do have you guys to know that I do have the foundation that's coming up here. So you guys can always remember that is a foundation that's coming up. It's been taken care of and right now. So you guys look out for that. You'll see the new page come up. You see the on the pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. So you guys can, like I say, make note of that. Also, I checked this morning, and you guys had at least 114,184 signatures. I'm sure it's grown by now. Keep on signing that petition. That's your voice. It's my voice. You guys echoing what I'm trying to do here when I go out to these law enforcement officials. Just like I said this morning on this morning Q&A. Just imagine that. Here it is, 10 months. Not one time I had any law enforcement come out to my search, other than the two times that I asked the Buckeye Police Department to come out through a letter that I had to send to Chief Hall with all these CC people on there to show, make sure that they knew that I sent him this letter asking them to come out. They came out empty-handed on that one time. The first one, they came out partially empty-handed on the second one, and then they end up had to come out on the weekday to complete what they didn't do on that weekend. Which ended up being still a half job. So that's why I had to end up doing myself, go search those wells myself and things like that. If you take out the fact also that, you look at some of these cases out there, and there's many cases, and I said it this morning, but there's many cases out there, and I've met many families, no matter what the race is or color, there's people out there who haven't gotten their family heard. There's some names out there that people haven't been seen, heard, or anything. So those are the kind of people I'm fighting for also, fight for those families to get their names out there, be heard, get their family members' voice heard, and things like that. Because, a lot of this missing person problem is a big problem in the United States, especially states like Arizona, Alaska, and New York, and some of these other ones that have high missing person rates. So you guys, I will keep on fighting. Also, y'all know I will be a speaker on the CrimeCon this weekend coming up. You guys can go to crimecon.com, and you will see the information up there on that corner right there, crimecon.com, and you go there and you can go on the speaker tab, and you will get some information from the guest tab and on the event. Also, you can come out there to Vegas, I guess, and support. So my goal is to be out there to spread Daniel's name out there, talk about his story, to network with some of the people there to try to, like I said, get this Daniel story. You got to work hard. I tell families all the time. I did an interview today, one of the local news, and I'll say, look, you got one advice I give families is to do it. You got to get out there on the ground. You got to fight, because if you don't, nobody's going to fight for you. In my case, you see that. Like I said, law enforcement don't have anything to do with my searches. They haven't put a dime in my searches. They haven't been supportive of the searches. I had to do this by myself. The searches that the law enforcement had done, I counted at least a total of 3 they have done since my son been missing. The first one was done almost 3 days after he went missing. The second was done a little over 2 weeks after that. And then they say they did a third one. I'm not sure if that ever happened. But that was right after my son's vehicle was found in this ravine. So what I'm saying is these guys did all of that and came up empty-handed each time. They haven't found, like I said before, a construction cone out there yet. My searchers have produced human remains out there in the same area they searched. A rancher found my son's vehicle in the same area they searched. And also we found clothing in the same manner in a pile out there in the area that the Buckeye Police Department searched. We found all kinds of things out there where the Buckeye Police Department searched. We also have my own cadaver dogs in my searches 3 different times that alerted on the same exact tree in the area that Buckeye said they had several cadaver dogs with an S, and they had and tracking dogs and things like that, and they haven't found that tree. They haven't found that human skull that was close to that. So that we found out there. So, it always seems to me to ask the questions. And also they haven't done the due diligence to realize that my son's vehicles is sitting there on federal land. So, so those type deal is the things I had to go through as a father here, been fighting for all these months. And I don't have any type of law enforcement support on any of that. Only thing I get from law enforcement in every angle is resistance and ways they will not try to help. Where they'll try to do everything they can, write everything they can in their reports and whatever they can do to appear they're doing things which they are not. Those type deals, or try to make sure they're not doing anything for me. So I'm going to keep pushing. You guys are my voice. Like I said, you signed that petition. You are my voice. You have been my voice from the start. And, you've been your own voice. Every time I see those numbers on the petition, I just see you people. You people backing me up. I see the people at the searches who come out there and tap me on the shoulder. Hey, Mr. Robinson, we got your back. So I see those people. I see the people like yourself who come out to this Q&A and always in support. So I'm really grateful for each and every one of you. Never, ever, ever take you all for granted. I'm appreciative of each and every one, like I said. And I thank you for even taking time. So to keep going on with this, I want to go ahead and start acknowledging some people who's here. I did talk to some while the pre-recorded message was on there. And if you have any questions, please put the word question there first before your question. If I miss your question by chance, please ask that question again. Put the word question there first, followed by your question, and then after that, you can please, let's say, put the word question there, big capital letter Q, or big question mark, or something to indicate that you're about to ask a question, and then I definitely will be able to get to your question. So I want to first of all say thank you, Gia, for coming out on this Q&A to Prime Time. Thank you, Boss Man Blake, for coming out. I really appreciate it. Thank you for, like I said, take your time being here. Tub 883, thank you for being here this afternoon. Yeah, things like that can make you angry. I know that for a fact. Thank you, Stevie, for being here. Thank you, Cassidy, for being here. I appreciate you being here. Life be like, thank you for being here. Thank you for signing that petition. That's another one. That's your voice. If you have multiple, you guys have to know also, if you have multiple email addresses, you can do it multiple times. That is you talking louder. You can look at it in that way. So if you want to do it multiple times, you can. I really appreciate that. Those numbers really mean something. Also, thank you, Shiro's Nation, for being here this evening. Thank you for being both the morning prime time, morning Q&A, and also this prime time Q&A. I'm really grateful. Thank you, Mr. Short, for being here this morning. I see you have a question there. The first question: are you working on the run or help God? Yes, I am. We talked about that. Yes, that was an idea that I came up with. Like you said, to share my what I've gone through, how it's got my searches started to help other families and things like that. So those things are in the working, and I really do have those things for you guys. That comes along with the foundation, Daniel Robinson Foundation, that's coming up. That will be running in conjunction with that. What Ms. Evan had here, your thoughts on what to include in that? Yes, there's a lot of things that we will be including. Like I said, everything is in there. It's going to be based on everything I had to do here from ground. So it's a grassroots type deal. This whole search efforts to, getting the funding to, saying the distribution to everything that's been built to this point have been documented. So you guys can, families can utilize that, know where to start, give them kind of like a blueprint, how to get things going, how I have got things going, how I got the media coverage, to get to the national stage. I know the media will say, hey, this Petito case thing has caused Daniel case to get. I get that. That's some of the things that the media would have to use on that point, but they neglect to say that I have been working hard for 3 months to even get the national stage going, the local news going, and also to get Daniel's name out there on social media. I worked hard. One of the tweets that I put out, the young lady, she retweeted that went viral. That helped out a lot. Also, that got it to a point where it being acknowledged when the Petito case happened to get a little farther. So, so there's a lot of hard work. So you go those little things, the little tricks and trades, or not really tricks and trades, but things I had to do to get people like Joy Reid and some of those to take my son's story on a national stage. So that would be some things I would share in that also. For those families who need that kind of guidance. Also, thank you, Life Be Like That again, like I said, for being here this afternoon in this Q&A. Jet Julia, thank you for being here. And I really hope I found them too. Thanks so much for being here. LL, for being here. God bless you for being here. Spivey, thank you for being here. And I'm really grateful for all of you that decided to come out here to this Q&A. Thank you, Allison Miller, for being here on this Q&A. Nikki, thank you for being here on this Q&A. If you guys have any questions, please put the word question there, followed like Mr. Short did, followed by your question, or put a big question mark or something that would help out a whole lot in that, for me to go down the comment section to see it. If I miss your question, please forgive me. I will try to get it to the next time. Just re-ask again. It's okay to put it down there twice, but make sure, like I said, you can do those things so I can notice it. Also, thank you, Yeti Khan. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. You coming out here this afternoon. Thank you, Michelle, for being here this evening. Thank you, and hello to you. And thank you. I really, I think any father would do what I'm doing, and I really appreciate everything that you're saying. And God bless you. I really appreciate you. Thank you. And also, Spivey have the question here. Thank you for being here on this evening's Q&A prime time. Spivey's question is a local advocate in the area that is willing to help with the relationship between you and local LE. is there a chance of working together again? I understand the mistrust, but hopefully share information. The first step will come with that department is to, first of all, be communication. That's the first step. I had that, like I said, the communication between myself and that department happened when, in my opinion, they didn't like the physical evidence that my investigator found and gave to them. The transfer paint on the vehicle. From their own data pool, the 11 additional miles on the vehicle after the first initial crash. The fact that he did the measurements from every angle and followed the tracks that vehicle traveled to get down that ravine, and there was enough space there to get 30-some miles per hour. The fact that we actually use UTVs and ATVs, vehicles, quads that was designed for that terrain that couldn't make it that speed to get to that ravine as a test run. And all this physical evidence that he gave to this department, and they didn't like that. I don't know it's because he did a job that they didn't do, or what the case may be, but they decided not to. So, like I said, the first step is communication. If they wanted to have a relationship with me, they should have not stopped talking. They should not have been shutting down when they got evidence. Took the evidence that we worked on. I don't know if they're taking credit for that. I don't know. That's what the FBI meant when they said they had a case briefing and they turned in some stuff, whatever they said to this FBI, didn't let me. If I was there, I would say, that's what we did. Now searchers, I guess they didn't want me to say that because I had to go to Maricopa County one time ago with the human remains that we found. One of the volunteers showed me, hey, Mr. Robinson, Maricopa County got listed as Buckeye found these human remains. I'm like, oh my God. I called them. That told them it was falsifying records. They called me back. They sent an email, apologized for it, and they put the record straight. So it's things like that. So this department is probably easily got there, taking a lot of credit for what happens in my searches without them helping me. I found out later that I was having my tip line, for instance, occluded with the Buckeye Police Department. Somehow they was taking what I'm paying for, my own money, and utilizing and taking those information off without me hearing about it. So to make a long story short with that, I don't work for the Buckeye Police Department. They work for me. So, we got to make sure that we don't get confused on how things work in this country. The police department work for us. We do not work for them. And I want to make sure that it's clear. They have, like I said, the relationship could have been better. Like I said, I had lost trust. They had to give me something to trust. There's nothing I can trust. There's a lot of fictitious things out there about me in their report. I said that my son was in love with a woman. I'm still angry about that. That is something I didn't say, but it's in a report. I don't have a trust when they can go out there and get information from a young lady's cell phone and let her upload her own information. What could have easily been adopted or something she could have put up there, and at the same time, it's still hearsay evidence, but they put that in their report. So it's things like that would maybe not trust them until they can build that trust factor with me. I don't even see a reason why they even talk to them. One of the biggest things I can think what they can do for me right now is to turn my son's case over to somebody, proper authorities that really can do the work and who's willing to take the evidence that my investigator gave them and utilize that evidence to find out what happened to my son, instead of doing everything they can humanistically possible to try to make themselves look good as if they did something and not find my son. Do everything they can to not find Daniel, in my opinion. So that's what they can do, and I don't know what kind of advocate Spivey can help that department do so. So thank you so much for your question. Michelle Maggin, thank you so much for being here on this Q&A this evening. Coming out, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Monica, again for being here on this Q&A. Thank you so much for coming out. Also, Gina, thank you again for all your hard work and getting those flyers out there and all the things that you do in the background to help the efforts of finding Daniel. So thanks for being here. Also, Stephanie, thanks for being here. Hello to you. God bless you for coming in. Also, Tanya, thanks for being here this evening on this Q&A, coming out to help. Carolyn, thank you so much for everything. I'm going to miss you so much so far already. Out there in that desert, you've been working very hard to make sure that, these searches go well. You're one of the team. I call you the family, so we're a family. You already know that. And I'm really grateful for everything you do. And coming out also, not just on the desert out there, you come out there to the flyer distribution to get those flyers and get them out there to places you like to go. So I'm really grateful for you, and I really appreciate that. We're battle buddies. First of all, we're battle buddies also for life. You know how we are in the military. We're gonna be family regardless. So thank you so much, Carolyn, for everything you do. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Also, guys, if you have a question, please put a word question there first, followed by your question. That will help me out as I'm coming down. And I don't want to miss anybody's questions. So I'm just going down to the comment section to get some of these questions out. The Q&A is for to answer your questions, and then also give you my spiel information that you may need. So I guess I can take this time out. Also, I'm gonna put this right here. Thank you, Gwen, for all your hard work. Thank you so much for everything you do. I really appreciate that, you being there, moderating, doing what you do. Thank you so much. I want to put this banners up there and explain these banners. You guys on the bottom down, there's the tip line. If you guys have tips, please use those tip lines right there to get information. If you know anything that happened to my son, or have information about anybody who done something to my son, or somebody else who know information about my son, if give no tip, that's what tip lines are for. This tip line is very good because I pay for this, and it's a service I pay for. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week service. It's live operators. They take your call. Like I said, you can stay anonymous. You can stay anonymous, or you can be non-anonymous, whatever you prefer. You even do that tip line can have a conversation with myself, investigator, or whoever to discuss. Right? Like I said, you can stay anonymous where we won't even know who you are. We can have that discussion with you. Also, if you don't want to talk to anybody, if you want to talk to them still want to talk to one of us without talking to an operator, you can just text the word tip to that tip line, and you still can do the same thing. The form will come up, and you can still have that conversation if you like, anonymous, non-anonymous, or you can just not conversate at all. Just leave that tip. It's up to you. So, but those are the tip line there for those purposes to bring Daniel back home. If you guys have a comment, hey, Mr. Rouse, I think you're doing a good job. I think you're doing a bad job. I think whatever, you need to go search here. I think whatever whatever you want to say, you can use this contact me number here. This is my cell phone. It's a public cell phone. You guys can use that and, make your comments, suggestions, or whatever you like on that. And I really appreciate it if you can use that. If you want to even leave a tip and say, hey, no, I don't want to live with the tip line. I want to talk to you directly, Mr. Robinson. You can do that because I got something to tell you. You can do that also. I can tell you a lot of times I don't get to answer the phone directly. Sometimes I do. If you just happen to catch me when I just happen to have it in my hand at the time, I will answer. If I don't answer that phone call, that means I will call you back. I will answer your voicemail or whatever the case may be. Text message, you got text messages. It take me a while to get through sometimes, but I will get there. And so you guys can leave the information there. Also, anything else on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. You guys can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com for everything you need to know, from how to donate, how to sign a petition, to how you can, other ways you can help, and also how you can get the flyers and things like that. So about the searches, whenever searches come back up, they will be there. About the city distribution, that's every week. That's still continuing on every week, you guys. So how you can be a part of that. And also, like I said, information about the special operation desert searches that are temporarily paused. It says paused, not because you guys it wasn't functionable at the time. It started off very much functionable. Over time, it started, some things had to be taken care of, like I said, to get back on track. So you guys, please understand that we won't be in the searches for a little while. Is a pause. I have not stopped searching for my son out there in the desert, and I have not stopped searching for my son. But the special operations search as it stands is on pause. So I really grateful you guys can understand that. Also, volunteer in other ways, a tab on the pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. If you guys can sign that form, fill out that form, like I said, for that foundation that's coming up. And also when the searches get back, there are some things that people that we may need to be in certain areas to help. I don't care where you live, where you're from, your background. You guys can fill out that form, and that'll help out with the team. My team will look at that. I know some people already have done it. They wonder why they didn't get no response back yet. We're still working on those things. Again, I keep saying it. We just get those. We just need those in. So when this foundation foundation stuff really get it rolling, we'll have those. So thanks so much. Also, like I said, the signatures are there. I'm grateful for you guys signing that signature and giving your voice. Also, I will be speaking at CrimeCon. I'm just running through these bottom of the screen here, running through here so you guys can know what's going on this week. There's a CrimeCon event this weekend. I will be part of that. Also, I just want to tell you, thank you guys for supporting, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. That really helps the algorithm get the story out there much as possible. Because that's all. That's what it's really about. This whole Q&A is all about getting awareness for Daniel, getting my son's story out there. And you guys are, like I said, y'all been the champions from day one. Y'all share the story. Word of mouth is bigger than any news organization out there, CNN and everybody else. Word of mouth goes a lot farther. It's a little more intimate, and is a way that people would actually want to share. So you guys can go out, tell your neighbors, whoever, get these flyers. You can get them, print them out yourself, or you can have me send them to you, and get those things out everywhere we can. We're gonna get those flyers out there, share the information, tell somebody about this channel, bring them on, invite them on, whatever the case may be. I need all your help, all the help I can get. Thanks so much for being here, tea and flowers. I really appreciate you decided to come out here this afternoon. Thank you also, Jennifer Cooley, for coming out to this Q&A prime time. Lisa, thanks for being here, coming out to this on this prime time. Thank you so much for your comment. Also, thank you, Gia, for being here, and thanks for signing a petition. I really appreciate it. LL for being here on this evening's Q&A. I do have a question here, and I thank you for being here. You're gone, Youth Gone Wild 90. I really appreciate you coming in from the YouTube channel, and I do appreciate your question. Wasn't there at least one well you wanted to search or have Leo's Leo's search? I think maybe law enforcement. Okay, search. Did that happen to get your knowledge? I think if you're asking if LA law enforcement, I guess you're saying did a search. Was there at least one well that I wanted to search or have I guess law enforcement Buckeye searched it? That's the way I'm understanding the question. One thing is, yes, I did have searched 2 well sites. I've been searching them other ways, trying the best I could, but I actually had a real company to come in and go into this well site. The problem was I did ask the Buckeye Police Department to come out and search not only one well, but 2 wells. It's a well that was said that my son was last seen, and one that was north of that. Also, I had 2 mines that needed to be searched out west. And on that same request that I sent out to the Buckeye Police Department, Chief Hall said he'd send those officers out, which he did. Those officers came empty-handed. They didn't have the proper equipment to do any of that stuff. So they said they was we're gonna come get somebody to do it that day, which they didn't. Then that turned out they said they were gonna come out during the week and they was gonna call me. So they did not do any search on that weekend, but they did call me, and we went out there on a weekday. Once we got on the weekday, like I said, they still didn't search the well where my son was last seen. They also, the lieutenant at the same time, admitted that they never did search that well where my son was last seen. And also the one that's north of that, they did have somebody come out there with a camera to search it. They use a makeshift machine that they use to put their camera down in that well. And that camera was not submergible. It couldn't go underwater. In other words, they did a camera, which to me was a half job. I didn't want to say nothing at the time to the media, to the public. But I was really dissatisfied with that because they was really complaining once the camera barely touched the water. I guess they came out as really uptight about the camera, getting wet on the bottom from the water that was in the well once it got to that water level in the well. And that I guess they wanted me to do that, pull that camera back out and say, okay, Miss Robinson, your son ain't here or nothing to look in as well. That wasn't satisfaction to me. So that's why I had to get my own company to go in that well. And I say do a real inspection and really search that well. Searching that well means you take a camera, a submergible camera in that well, which we had, and you guys seen it on the Q&A here, to search those wells. Both of those wells have been searched. Both of those wells by me, not the law enforcement, have not done that. They haven't used those equipment to go down in those wells other than to the water level and pull the camera back out. Also, a well, what it was called a well near this on the site here, south of the site near a corral. The Buckeye Police Department came out there on their own. And they did something on social media saying, hey, was out here searching the well. And they had their little things in there like they're searching with their cameras. Again, I didn't hear anything back from that other than they searched that well. But that is a well that my volunteers and myself, We searched that well. We didn't have the equipment to go down in there. We thought it was a well ourselves. At the time, we was calling it a well. We searched the vertical mine that was near that corral. We also searched that whole area, and we just see that what we thought at the time was a well. We couldn't get the wood off of it, so we couldn't actually go down in there with any kind of cameras or anything to see what it really was. But we later, since when I came out to do those searches that you're asking about, those wells, I did find out that wasn't a well. Indeed, that's actually a mine. There's a mine there, and there's one south of that. So those two that still was being searched right now, or in process of being searched. It's just that I never did get the okay with the BLM, Bureau of Land Management. So working on things like that, still waiting on the company and things like that to this point. But like I said, LE only did one of those wells, and one of those wells, when they did it, it was with unsubmergible cameras. So it wasn't a full job, it was a half job, and they didn't do it. That's not how you search wells. So if I answered the question correctly, that's what I think he was asking, if they actually did a search of those things. If you want to call it a search of them, they didn't do it properly. So that's that. I can't tell you that part. Also, thank you, Spivey, for being here this afternoon. Also, again, Gia, thank you for your question. Coming here, how do you sign the petition? Go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, and you'll see the tab on the top, sign the petition. You go on there, and I think there's a tab on there for you to put your email in, and you just say, hey, you want to sign the petition, and ask you for your email. That's the way you sign that petition, through your email. So the information is on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, sign the petition. Thank you so much, Jill, for your question. Also, I thought I had another question from Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer Cooley, for being here this evening for this Q&A. The question is, LE still actively searching? Have they definitely stated whether they suspect foul play? They never did suspect foul play, and they still don't. They're still calling it a missing person. Daniel, to them, is just a missing person with a brain injury, who escaped this vehicle with a brain injury with no clothes on, and he's somewhere in the monastery, probably became a monk to be away from his family. He staged this whole event himself. He wrecked his car, took his clothes off for that reason. Like I said, all this happened on his own accord, and they gave everything over to me, the vehicle, the clothing, everything, for safekeeping, for Dane to come back. So to give that stuff back to me, with marked for safekeeping, Buckeye Police Department saying to me that, hey, we think your son, nothing happened to your son. Your son is coming back for his things, and there is no foul play, nothing. So why are they out there now, because of national attention, saying that we're investigating? Why they're telling the FBI that they're investigating. I mean, all of a sudden now you start to investigate because after the fact, after you give me those things. So, that type deal. So I have never heard anything back from them about what they are doing, and they're investigating and things like that. I don't have a communication with them. I'm here on the ground, and I don't have a communication with them. So I don't know what they're doing, other than a bunch of stuff on the report. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I do know. When people come to me and say, hey, it is added something else on the report. So some of those things would be opposite of what was said in the first initial. Now, I'm telling you guys, I've said over and over again, when this vehicle was found, they turned everything over to me like that. Chief Hall told me they was giving me the final report. Final report meaning they closed the report off, it's done, said no more additions, is over. But like I said, when this thing became national, all of a sudden, I don't know if they opened the report back up or however they did it, but all of a sudden, they still got this report going. It's growing and getting, I think it's up to 50-some pages now. So it was already at 40-some pages when they gave it to me. So they gave me a partial report at first in that meeting. And then he said, hey, my judge is going to finish it up. So when they finish it, they're going to give me the full final report. And they gave it to me. It's unredacted. They gave it to me, and I still have it to this day. I make many copies, but I have them to this day. So the thing is, when I compare them to what they got now, some of the sentences, of course, have been changed and things like that. But you know what? Like I said, when I see that, that's what make me don't have that trust on a lot of reasons. Don't have trust where everything is changed or added to not help me find my son. So that type deal. So that's what I get from that. So thanks so much for your question, Jennifer, and thank you for being here on this Q&A. Also, thank you, Michelle Madigan, for being here. I really appreciate it. And I really thank you so much for signing up. Thanks for sharing. And I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing all the effort that you're doing. I really appreciate you deciding to do what you're doing. So thanks so much for being here on this Q&A. And also thank you, Lola, again for being here. Thank you for praying for the family. Thank you, Cha Cha B, for being here. Hello to you. I really appreciate you coming out here to this Q&A. And also, you guys, please continue. Like she said, please continue to share Daniel's story. And our family do. We really thank you. Like I said, I'm here standing in the gap for my family. I know we had a question one time before about Daniel's mother. Again, you guys, I can't speak for his mom, but I can speak for myself. I can speak for the family members I do get to talk to. They're hurting. They're worried about Daniel just as much. But as in why I'm here doing this, for the family and myself, I cannot answer for everybody else, but I can answer for myself. I'm Daniel's father, and he's my responsibility. I love him like that, and do everything I can to find my son. And that's just the end of the story. So I'm really grateful for you guys being a part of that and being like family and showing interest and things like that and coming out to the searches, passing out these flyers, coming out to the Q&A, asking these questions, doing everything you can. You're doing things that family would do. And I really appreciate the guys for coming out here. Some of you guys travel. I have some people came from California, travel out here just to go to search. I had one young lady, her and her son came out, drive 6 hours just to come to a search. So I had a pregnant lady. I found out later. I don't approve of that. I don't like that. But later found out one of the ladies she was carrying, and she decided to come out to search. Very passionate people, very dedicated, and really care about the appearance of disappearance of Daniel, my son. So just as much as passionate as I am, and I'm really grateful for each and every one of you who show that kind of love. Thank you, young youth. Gone Wild 90. Thank you so much for being here again. And with your question, did Brittany Griner's detention in Russia change or reinforce your view of American authorities? I'm not sure what this question is, but I'm not sure about that. No, I'm not familiar with that. Brittany Grinders, I don't know what that is, sir. But I really appreciate you coming out for the Q&A. Thank you so much for your question. You do have one more here. Did Brittany guys put change? Okay, the same question. I do not know who that is. So thank you so much for your questions. But you know what? I'm putting Dane's story out as far as I can. And you guys, saying that's the whole name of this Q&A right here, is to get Daniel's story out as far as I can, and you guys are help. One thing I can tell families who out there trying to help their own family member is you got to create your own things. I noticed I reached out, and I'm not talking against any nonprofits out there that could have helped. I reached out a lot of nonprofits. People always come to me, hey, Ms. Robbins, you tried this nonprofit, you tried this nonprofit, you tried that nonprofit. Yes, I tried them all. I tried many of them. I just can't remember the names. I tried so many of them. And not one nonprofit came out here to help. Now Missing in Black did. They came out into they don't do the kind of function that some of these other nonprofits do, but they did donate. Also, I had donate. I have like podcasts. Kendall Ray and Josh, her husband, they donated, for instance. So I had a lot of podcasts that would do things like that to help the way they can. Have me come on the show like Grizzly K. Grizzly True Crime, come out and go on the show. John Q, come on the show. Tisa Phil and the rest of the crew. Miss Q, Carla, everybody who came out and used their channels to help on those endeavors. But I can tell families to make sure whatever you do, sometimes you have to create your own. That's why I have a foundation. The foundation will provide all those things that I've been trying to get at the beginning for my son. Those drones, those specialized drones you guys heard me asking about all the time. I reached out to nonprofit organizations who have those drones. They say it's coming out. They would need to have an invitation by the Buckeye Police Department. I'm sure they probably didn't get the invitation that they was asking for. I told Chief Hall about it. It didn't cost the Buckeye Police Department a dime. But I really believe they did not do that invite. But these guys say they'll do it anyway, regardless of invite or not. But they just really rather have the invite. But those guys didn't come through. They didn't show up. The guy told me that the other workers, for some reason, didn't show up that morning or something or the other, and they didn't come. And they was referred to me by Aqua Search or whatever you call them, Aqua Search. And these I think Aqua Search is one of the biggest type of group or nonprofit that help in situations like families who have missing loved ones. What I hear, I don't know a whole lot about them other than the Dave Rader guy. He and I communicate. I've been reaching out to these people for a while. Was able to get in contact with the Dave Rader guy. And he explained to me, hey, my son's case don't fit their profile. I don't know what this means, but they did, and the offense gave me that because I told them, hey, look, I need those drones, specialized drones, and these guys have that. So hopefully this, not hopefully, but this foundation will provide things like that, and we'll have those type of drones that we need. We have the UTVs that we need. We have the quads that we need. We have the command center that we need. Things like that will provide those type things that people need when their loved ones are missing. Also, this channel, even right now, I'm waiting on the family right now to come on the Q&A to tell their family story. A lady wanted to tell a story about her brother. And so, she's trying to get her guts up. She's not really used to being on camera. I wasn't used to being on camera. I don't really like it either, believe it or not. But I have gotten used to it. And it's for my son. Now I got to a point where I just on camera. But you know what? Hopefully she can come on eventually, because what the thing is with the foundation also, like I said, to help other families so they don't have to go through the same thing that I had to go through just to fight for my son. Now I'm still currently going through when LE law enforcement fails, So you need somebody you can really stand on and that's really is out there to help you as a person, as a community. And that's what Daniel Robinson Foundation should be doing and will be doing. So, Jennifer, thank you so much for coming again. What are the local news stations in the area? What are the local news stations in that area? We need to flood them. Everyone. I did one today. That was Channel 3 News. There's Channel 3 and 5. 3 and 5. There's both channels. It's a CBS channel here locally, and I did an interview with them today. So the local news here, just like any other news organization, that's another thing. Like I told you, that's why I have this YouTube channel. When CNN stopped doing it, when some of these other networks stopped covering, the local news channels stopped covering Daniel's story. These people look for something new. It was really exciting when the Petito case was going on, and then they had a reason to tell a story that this father coming out 3,000 miles or whatever, 2,000 miles, searching for his son. That sounds very exciting. That sells a lot of stories, probably get them ratings. And then when hey, look, this young man's missing, and then the Petito case showed up and said, hey, the disparities of how I think they call it white woman syndrome, and how the disparities are, statistically of people of color and things like that. So that was the stories. And but my son's this whole case with my son was able to get highlighted and get some coverage because of that stories they just want to talk about, because it was something new to talk about in the moment. Just like they right now talk about Ukraine, we're still praying for those people in Ukraine and things like that. They look for something that's really exciting. Everything else will go on the back burner. So whenever that time comes, you families have to know that you have to always create your own local. What you're saying, Jennifer, create your own local news coverage. Create your own national news coverage. That means doing what I do here. Ask you guys, please share the story. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Get this algorithm going. Get this YouTube channel everywhere. Get it out there because word of mouth is bigger than any news station, any news organization. And so being said, so all the families need that. So you guys, that's what I'm saying. Just local news. Yeah, we could flood them. But like I said, I have reporters like Josh Sanders, Nicole Griggs. Those are the two champions here locally that started me off. Make sure I got these stories out here locally. But you know what? They have bosses too. Only thing they could do is every morning, hey, Ms. Robinson, I really want to do your story, but I'm going to pitch it to my people. And it's up to them to say yay and nay. When these people say no, those reporters had to go, they get them assignments to go somewhere else. Hey, no, we don't want you to do the story on this Daniel Robinson. We want you to go out here to do on this pickle farm and how they are producing 100,000 pickles per day or something. I don't know. So, those kind of things like that. So they do have a boss, and they decide to put things on what they want to put on. So you guys are the reason why I'm here to share this Q&A, to get Daniel's story out there, because I believe that somebody knows something. I know you guys know too. Somebody keep hearing it over and over again, or they haven't heard it at all. Like I said, I went out just yesterday passing out flyers and to people who have never even heard of Daniel's story here in Arizona. Somebody may hear something finally. If you guys keep pushing it out there, and then they can say something, and I can bring my son home. I can get the answers that I need, and I can bring my son home. So that's why it's important to get this thing out there. So thank you, Jennifer. I have a question from LL. David, those high tension power lines use a bunch of roughneck linemen. Can you request the FBI gather who was out there on them and the day they went missing? I don't think the FBI would do anything, not here in Arizona. I'm not sure. But you know what? I for lack of details, I have went out to speak with the FBI on yesterday. So we have some discussion there, and we will see what happened in the future. I have some avenues there to ensure that they will come into my son's case. But at this time, I would not be asking too much questions with the FBI. I'm just going to let them do their thing, and I'll be doing my own thing to ensure that my son case is being heard and being properly taken care of, especially when this vehicle is on federal land. So thank you so much for your question. Also, thank you, Gwen, for putting that in. Multiple ways you guys can help. Please help finddane.com, and you got all those ways that you can help. So please check out pleasehelpfinddane.com, and that'll help you in many ways. Also, question is there still both GoFundMe and an active cash reward for information? Yes, they are. So let's GoFundMe. That's helping with everything I'm doing here. It was with the searches, like I said, the funding. It was had to be continually type deal was going on to keep us here, keep things functioning. And also there's a cash reward. Yes, it is. You guys can see that on the pleasehelpfinddaniel.com also, and also on the flyers. So you guys, we're working on that also. So thank you so much for your question. Youth Gone Wild 90. Thank you for being here again. I do have a question here from Forever Curious. Statement, not question. Okay. I'm looking most recent historic satellite imagery to trace car tracks. Fingers crossed. New update. Relevant images will be available to trace, overlap, and to make comparisons. And it's interesting you say that. You say you can look at car tracks, right? And and that's from your satellite imagery. I was out there the other day doing a drive-through of the story that this worker from Weber, the only guy that seen my son last out there in the desert. I just missing the second guy that I was putting out there who have said he's seen my son out there. And the only reason why, because of the Shiro's Nation question, that made a whole lot of sense. My son would have not known how to direct this man over to anywhere. He never been out there before. So that's raised a lot of red flags. Also, the fact that he changes his timeline. When he first gave me one time until he found out, my investigator said the first initial crash happened around 1. Then he pushed that time back 10 o'clock that morning. So there's a couple of things. And those are kind of things. And then the crazy part about it, I'm telling you guys how this thing worked. Crazy part about that, when I did invite the Buckeye Police Department out to that second search, that second time, I did talk to Detective Biff, and he said, yes, we talked to this guy. I said, hey, what about his, some little situation about it? He said, hey, that's irrelevant. I said, what about, so he said, his story was credible. They believe his story. They vetted his story to be credible. But yet we have a question, just like Shiro's Nation says, how would he even know that? So why are you taking this man's story without asking those questions yourself as a detective? So, that's the kind of things I'm saying, guys, it's either lazy work, or somebody don't know what they're doing, or they just don't care. Saying? It got to be something. And I can't tolerate that. As a father, I cannot tolerate that. I can't tolerate stupidity. I can't tolerate things that's not logically sound, or any of that. So that's a problem for me. That's a very much problem, especially when it's my son. Life is at stake, and he's out there somewhere. Whether he's with us or not, he's out there somewhere, and he had to be found. And those type deals, just hearing things like that. When a young lady come on here on this Q&A and ask a question like that, it even made me think something I have missed. I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. But you know what? When things make sense to me, it's logically sound. That makes sense to me what she said, and that should have been something that trained detectives should have picked up a long time ago. So don't vet a story and say it's credible, and go with somebody's story. And when you have that kind of question. All right, I got a Kate Apia. Thank you so much. Sending much love. I really appreciate it. You coming out here. Thank you, just a soul sister. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much coming out. We're family. So thanks so much for being here. Also, thank you, Barry, for being here. Everything you do, I really appreciate it. In the background, all your hard work, being part of the team. I'm really grateful for you being here again. Thank you, Gwen, again. Like, share, and subscribe, you guys. Help the algorithm get this channel growing a lot farther and getting the story, Daniel's story out there a lot more. So I'm really dependent on that. Thank you, Nikki, Nicole. Thank you for being here. Leo, law enforcement officer. Thank you. So I really appreciate for definitely breaking that LEO down. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was a sign signal. Hey, I know some Leos and things like that. I didn't know what the LEO stand for, but thank you for breaking that down for me. For the other gentleman. So I really appreciate it. All right, LL has a question here. David, are both wells on federal or public land? Those are public wells. Those wells that I searched, we had to strike a deal with those owners. Again, the company that went in that well for me, they had a deal to give those owners a free well inspection just so I can have those wells searched. So those both are on private lands. The federal land, like I said, the vehicle, federal land would be one of the mines areas mines that's out there, and also three of the mines that I know of is on federal land, so still working on those. So thank you for your question there. Also, thank you, Chase Queen, for being here. I really appreciate it. But thanks so much for being here on this Q&A and coming out here to be a part. If you guys have a question, please put the word question there first, followed by your question. I really appreciate it. So you can, so if you have a question, put the word question there first, or capital letter Q or anything like that. That will help me find your question that's coming down. If I somehow miss your question, you still can ask again. We still have a little more time on this Q&A. And so I would like to get back to your questions. And so, please do that so I can recognize your question so I won't miss it. If I miss it again, I guess, Phil, I apologize if I did. Again, just like Carolyn said here, like, share, and subscribe. You guys can do that for me. I'll be really grateful for it. Thank you so much. And I know, Carolyn, you're doing everything you can to support me in every way you can. I really appreciate you. You made yourself known out there in the desert, and also these flyer distribution. I really thank you. Life be like that. Thank you for being here again. Thanks for signing that petition. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And you say when your adult child went missing. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Sorry to hear that. And I think, I don't know if I spoke with you earlier, but you had to find your child. Okay. Oh, man. Yes. 24. Okay. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, that you said you found your child, your son. And if you did, that's a blessing. I'm really grateful. If I'm reading that correctly, I'll make sure I didn't read it incorrectly. But I did know you said you had an adult missing child. And, and I can imagine when that happened, you wouldn't like to hear Ellie just assume that your child wanted to go missing. Just assume that, what I'm saying, and then decide not to go look and wait to almost 3 days later because an auntie of yours, whatever she had to say to make them go say, hey, yeah, we're going to put a helicopter in the air. Because if she didn't do that, I can almost imagine the search would have never happened, in the first place. So, yeah, I can imagine that would be kind of rough for you. So, yeah, and I really believe that. You're right there what you said, because you have your experience there. You say the police should have made it a criminal case, even if they didn't believe it was foul play involved, especially when they read paint on the car, checking to see if people who were in contact with them, and that's right. It's a lot of reasons. Like I said, my investigator gave them all kinds of reasons why to suspect foul play. Like I said, the red transfer paint. If you look over here on the side, I'm going to tilt to the right here. There's right here, right there, that windshield there, and then you go over here on both sides of the windshield are impressions there. There's something that beat those two from the outside on towards the inside. The fact that there's no glass in the vehicle from that glass broken out on the door side over there. There's some glass on the ground. I still question the glass on the ground, but there's no glass on the ground. The little glass that is in the car, I promise you can grab all that together. It wouldn't even fill up a spoon of glass. The glass is not in the car. Also, the sunroof is a panel. They supposedly say my son kicked out of there, I guess, with a superhuman strength. He kicked out a panel. The sunroof do not have a glass, you guys, so don't get confused because the sunroof right here, missing the glass. I got to get my orientation correctly here, but you see my finger right here. That's the sunroof. Didn't have a glass in that sunroof, but they're saying that's the way he escaped. The fact that he took all his clothes off inside out, his underwear and socks on the ground, saying think about this now. If a person had to change the clothes, why would they take the underwear off? For one thing, and they was leaving, why they leave all the water, 2 cases of water without touching it to take with them? Why they wouldn't take their cell phone? The other part is, why would a sock that matches the sock they found on July the 19th, when they put all that stuff in the evidence bag? Here it is, my investigator, when I hired him on, 2 weeks after I hired him, he found a sock out there in the desert near the well site that matched the sock in the evidence bag. So that belongs to Daniel. That's not enough as a criminal thing to them. The 11 additional miles on the vehicle is not enough criminal evidence for them. You know what I'm saying? The fact that, like I said, the vehicle being cranked over 4 to 6 times is not enough. The vehicle's wrecked. The first initial crash happened at 1 o'clock, almost 4 hours after Daniel supposedly had been last seen. That's not enough for them. The fact that the rancher who found this vehicle said that 2 or 3 days before that day, he's right there in that ravine and the vehicle wasn't there. Almost 30 days after my son went missing, is not enough evidence for them to say a possible criminal case. So I can tell you, life be like that. It's nothing. I have found after 10 months with this department, it's nothing that would come up. Somebody can come over, put a sign out there and say, yes, I did something to Daniel Robinson. They still would find a way to prove that they didn't. So that's my opinion, and that's how they're approaching this case. They doubling down, cracking down, do whatever they can to make sure, like I said, I don't get no answers to what happened to my son, in my opinion, because they're doing everything against instead of with to try to find out what really happened to my son. The only thing they're doing is covering their own selves, in my opinion, and that's what happened. There's no foul play, no suggested foul play or anything in that department. They haven't ever come to me with anything even suggesting that. They just keep telling me, hey, he's a missing person, and that's the end of the story. And then they're going to continue to write in their report so you guys can read it and say, oh my God, the Buckeye Police did all of this, they did all of that, they did all of this. They haven't done anything. And I can tell you guys, words, like I said, action speaks louder than the words. You can write the hell you want to in a report, but I need to see some action. So thank you so much for being here. Also, thank you so much for you being here. I haven't seen you in a little while. Thank you so much for being here, and I know you do your Q. You get your hope. You got a lot of work you got to do yourself, and I really thank on your hard work and your passion for my son's case, and you being a very big inspiration on helping. And I'm really grateful for everything you have done to this point to helping the cause for my son. So thanks so much for being a part of this Q&A Primetime. Also, baby girl lad 12 have a question. Have any local activists been helpful? Yes. And I have one person on my team. I do have a team, you guys, and they have been this one in particular has been very helpful of get me. Well, two. I have also one. She's been definitely helping me. I don't know if she mind if I speak her name, but she's been very helpful to me to get me connected with a lot of. She's an activist herself. She's been putting a lot of murals and things like that around here in Arizona. Just everywhere, California to Georgia and things like that. So been very helpful. And also, like I said, a person on my team here has been connecting me so far with a lot of activists and people who can help get this word out and things like that. And we're still working with them. We're still working behind the scenes, you guys. It's more than just being out in the desert. It's more than just passing out flyers. It's more than just, talking on this Q&A. There's other things that are going on that I'll be working on and my team working on It's a lot of work. So you can imagine it's barely any time to get rested and doing things you really would like to enjoy in life. But you know what I'm saying, it's worth it because my son is worth it. And not only just for my son, everybody else who have missing family members and who's suffering just as much, they are worth it. You know what I'm saying? Them and their family members are worth it too. So everything's going to come to head and everybody's going to benefit from things that we're working hard for. So thank you so much, baby girl lad, for your question. Thank you, AP, for being here on this Q&A, and thank you for sending your prayers and your loves. And don't forget, you guys, that tip line. So I'm getting kind of close to the end of the Q&A, but I just wanted to make sure I'm here. Oh man, thank you so much, Melissa, for being here. I do some new faces. I really like that, and I really thank you for coming out to this Q&A. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rod the Creator, for coming out again. Thank you also, Jazz Raglan, for coming out this on this Q&A. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, please don't mind ask those questions. I really need them. Thank you again, Yunu, for your love and your support. I really love you. We love you. Daniel, love you also. I love you too. Thank you so much for your love and support. God bless you for that. And also, let me see who else I got here. You've gone wild again. Thank you for your question here. I am almost all out of flyers. I'm here in the Valley. How can I get some more to hand out? You know, we have the searches out there. It's still there on the website. Please help finddaniel.com. You can pick up flyers for the city distribution. This weekend it may be a little different, so look out for that. But you can do it every week. Same place behind the Walgreens oh my gosh, I'm losing track of the streets here. But right here in Phoenix, go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and get those the information there where you can get those flyers. So behind the Walgreens there. We're doing it every week. And also, if you want, though, you can go hit that number up. I told you before, you guys, if you want to also get flyers sent to you, you can hit the number that's on the bottom of the screen there. So I'm sorry, that's not the one. This number here. Hit the number on the bottom of the screen there and give me your address, and those flyers can be mailed out to you. So there's different ways. Like I say, go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com on East McDowell. That's the road I'm thinking of. Go to East McDowell on Saturday at 3:15. Those city distributions still will be going on. Also in Phoenix. So you say you're here in the Valley, so you know East McDowell on the Walgreens there. You can come out and grab your flyers. Like I said, or you can go to Please Help Find Daniel. You can get the PDF on how to make the flyers. I ask you, please, if you can, get them inside of the postcards. If you can't, just get them out there the best way you can. Really appreciate it. Or like I said, different ways you can do it. So thank you so much. You've gone wild for your question. I do have a question from LL. Thank you again for being here on this Q&A and being a part. Your question is, David, were the federal or permitted mine workers on the federal land that could have hurt Daniel? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? At this point, we don't know. That's what we're getting answers to. When I say we, if somebody else is doing some type of investigation, I know that's my investigator. But I'm saying from my investigator standpoint, for myself, I'm definitely looking to everything. Like I told you, anything and everything in my eyes is a question to be looking to. So I don't know anything about those federal. I haven't even heard of those working in those mines and things like that. I do know BLM. They mark the mines out there. They put some fencing or put some kind of something around it to let people know that they're, especially the vertical mines, they're the dangerous ones. You could be riding on that rough terrain up and down somewhere and just drive directly into a mine. So you have to be real careful out there with those vertical mines out there. So, but I do know that they do that. I haven't seen any workers out there working on anything. So I never heard of those permittees or those guys from BLM out there. So I haven't seen them. So yeah, but like I said, I wouldn't put that past anything or anybody. Also, Val Shrek, thank you so much for being here on Q&A. You have a question from Facebook. Did you do any investigation on the man who you found your son's car? Well, the rancher, that was his land, and he ran to Dane's car. Well, it's not his land, but it's BLM. He went through that land to his land, which is right next to it, to where the vehicles found. The vehicles on right there on the crest of his land and also BLM land. So you are a wonderful father. I really appreciate it. Hold up in the prayers. Thank you so much for those prayers. Investigation wise, no, I'm not a guy to investigate anybody other than do the investigate, but I'm not. When we say investigate, I'm taking it as asking them a whole bunch of questions, interrogation, and things like that. I have to leave that up to law enforcement. But I can snoop around and get answers that I need from a civilian standpoint. So anything a private investigator can do, you can do it yourself. That's one thing you guys should know. I even try to go out and apply and try to become my own investigator, private investigator. You can if you get those that experience in. You got to have so many years experience, and they preferably law enforcement, ex-law enforcement guys and things like that. So you got to have some experience. After this right here, all this investigation I'm doing now, I'll probably later on can apply to be a PI myself. So you know what I'm saying? So you can end up with a PI license and things like that. So I've been trying to inquire on that. And but you know what? Even with the PI, you only have certain limitations because you still a civilian. So, but I'm saying everything that the PI do, you can do it yourself. I did learn that also. Thank you. You knew. I really appreciate it. Like, share, and subscribe, comment. You guys can do that for me. I really appreciate it. I do have a question from Rachel. Thank you for your question, Rachel. Buckeye Police Department wrote in their report that me, Mr. Robinson, David, were the one who identified the girl Daniel was texting, and you were able to locate her Instagram and provide it to them. Are those claims false? No, I did not identify the young lady at all. So if they put that in the report, that is falsehood. No, I did not identify a lady. The only thing they asked me anything about my son's Instagram is that's his Instagram page. His pictures disappear off his Instagram page? So I am not aware of anything on the report that would suggest that I identified some woman. I didn't even know the woman. The only thing I know about that woman at the time is what my son told me. Hey, Dad, he spent a night over some girl's house with two relatives up there. He was about the Instacart. Everything you know when it comes to that type deal. That's the only thing I knew about the woman. So if that's in the report, that's another falsehood. Just like the falsehood of me saying, "Hey, my son was in love with a woman he didn't know." That is a falsehood, and I can tell you straight up. So that's what I'm saying. Again, if that's in the report, like you're saying, that's another reason why I don't take anything out of the report. There's too many falsifications in there, in my opinion, and I don't like that. And so of course, no, I did not identify anybody, any woman. I don't even know the woman. I still don't know who she is. I just know her by name, of course. I know what my son told me. I know what the Buckeye Police Department told me about her. I know what's up there in text messages that they allow her to put in their report. So no, if that's in there, I will look into that. And that's another thing I will make a copy and note of for future reference. So no, that is definitely not something that I would have identified some lady, that type deal. Matter of fact, the Buckeye Police Department, again, if they just say, hey, we obtained I think I did read something like that. Hey, we obtained phone records from the family. They have never obtained anything from us. We have never gave them paperwork to anything ever. Only thing, like again, I told you guys, it wasn't. I wish I had the cell phone next to me, but it's one of my other cell phones. It was just the black cell phone, just like that. They sent across, had us in the interrogation room at that. Only person I think the Buckeye Police Department ever put in the interrogation room concerning my son's case was me and my daughter. And they had to sit on across the table and strolling down the screen while they're on the side table, showing them Daniel's phone records and his bank statement. And then they're writing report, we obtained the bank statements and blah, blah, blah. They never got any physical bank statement unless they now, to try to cover themselves, will go back now, try to find everything they hear me say on these public things and go back in later and try to obtain these written public bed the phone company or whoever to get them some kind of paper trail, paper something that they never got from me and my family or anybody. So, that's a falsehood, Rachel. Thanks so much for that question, and thanks for making me aware of that. I will be looking for that. Also, we have a question here from Christina Lynn. Thank you again for coming out for the Q&A. Have you used a psychic? No, I have not used a psychic on this case. So thank you so much. I do have them reach out to me I've been having the psychic community reach out since I've been here in Arizona. I didn't know there were so many psychics out there in the world, but yes, I got a lot of them reach out to me since I've been here. I have nothing, against any psychics or anything like that. Everybody have their own proper gifts and things they do. I just don't subscribe to things like that much, so I don't utilize psychics and things like that. So, but thank you so much for your question, and thank you also for being here. Thank you, Jazz Ragland, again for being here in this Q&A. Thank you, Kata Pia, again for being here in this Q&A. I really appreciate you coming out. Thank you, Jen Sloan, for your question and coming out. The pump guy, he claimed to follow the tracks on the day Daniel went missing? Yes, he did. Stan left the tracks. Yes, he did. Following tracks before anyone know Daniel is missing. Yes, he did. He claimed to say, hey, he followed the track, following the tracks before Daniel know missing. Matter of fact, he even used the word, this thing's gonna come big and go national and that type deal. So he already in his head has made up that Daniel was missing like that. Okay, well, I guess at that point he's saying that as in what he was thinking that day on the 23rd when he was talking to me. So this claim seems highly dubious. It is a lot with that. Because of that, he said to me, I immediately reported that to the Buckeye Police Department when he told me, right? And I can quickly hear them say, even though I have witnesses say, oh, that's hearsay. We're not going to use it. But it's also hearsay from the young lady to be able to put her on text messages in the phone. And that's hearsay, one-sided text messaging, that type deal. So hearsay. But definitely I had a witness though. And he did say some things, but they did not put that in the report. Like I said, they're very selective. What they done put the rancher saying, hey, the vehicle wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior to have been found on the 19th. But they're not going to put that in there because if they put that in that report, that vehicle was not there 2 to 3 days prior because this rancher, he came through there. They put that in that report. They have to see criminality. And I'm telling you guys, they're going to do anything and everything they can, in my opinion, to make sure that don't happen. They wanted to keep it as Daniel's a missing person. He just disappeared off the face of the earth. We don't know where he's at. And you need to go home. And it's in the story. Nothing happened to him. If he want to come back and he's going to come back with his things, whatever the case may be. Because, for you to ignore that fact and then say, well, if that man said the vehicle wasn't here and he know he was here, he's an eyewitness to the case. He the one found the vehicle wasn't there. And the other part is they talking against them their own self. They searched that area with this Firebird helicopter and the Civil Air Patrol, and they ain't see no vehicle. They supposed to have did 3 searches. No vehicle. If that vehicle was there, no vehicle, right? They would have you believe the vehicle wasn't there. If they want to say, hey, if the vehicle was there the whole time and they just didn't see it, because I think they even came out on a report and say, on news, they say, hey, the land is so thick and lush with that area is not. You guys, I'm gonna put up something real quick here, and I'm gonna put up for a second, and I'm gonna show you what the terrain looks like real quick. Okay, well, I had to start over, but I said this many times before. In the military, we're taught to never leave anyone behind, and in the situation, that person is my son, and I would not leave him behind. Like I said, we recovered human remains out here in this desert, doing what we're doing right here, the line searches, and just searching the terrain, and we found human remains. So, I don't know what happened to my son. A foul play happened, or what the case may be. If he's out here, I need to find him and bring him back home to his mother, his siblings, to me, his grandparents. We need to make sure he's not lying here on the ground. Like on some of the unfortunate family members of people that we found out here. So this is another wash area with water.
Going to the wash.
This is a wash here that we're
going to get to the other side of the wash here, and then we'll do a line hold.
Yeah, these are the washes. It's kind of sometimes hard to get through. Like I said, this is where water flows through. A lot of times they carry debris. You can tell by how the terrain pushes these plants down, they come back towards me. And so we'll go through these washes really delicately and really look. I look up and down because I don't know how high the water flows, because sometimes flash flooding, you'd be surprised how far up the riverbank or the bank of the wash that the water actually flows through. So, you know, so it's a lot of sticks.
We've got a few people still on the watch, so we're just going to do a line hold here. Andrew, are you on top of the hill by the sidewalk?
I just want to show you guys that this lush over this area is really thick. Okay. But even when it's thick, I'm just going down the wash to make sure all of even as it's this thick, I just want to show you guys in this area. This is over near north of where my son was last seen as well, and that area of the desert has tall trees like the one you see on the screen there, for instance. Even with that, you see how spread things are. They may have a big tree there, they may have a tree here. If a vehicle was even in that area, and this is the thickest part of that desert terrain out there, where my son's vehicle was found, the terrain was literally, when I'm saying the brush probably come up to my chest. And you can look at the pictures and everything you guys seen from the Buckeye Police Department that they released. Just look at the picture that's behind me. That terrain is nothing like what you see right here. In that desert, you can walk out so many miles out, and one side of that desert may be highly vegetation like it is here, and then over there where my son's vehicle is found is on the ground. It's so low. The shrubberies are so low, almost like timber weeds or something. I just want to give you all a little brush of that, and also what we do on this line. Just made it out of the wash. This is a nice tree up on the wash, but a lot of cattle like to hang out under here, so to cool off. But everybody's good? Okay.
Yep, I'm good over here. Copy.
Clear. I got you, Rose. You okay? Okay, good. I was coming down to wash, make sure everybody out. Huh? You're the last, okay. Okay, what I wanted to do is I'll just pretty much want to say you guys right here on that little part that you've seen, you know, even if the vehicle was in that area with the high brush, when I say high brush, only thing that's high out there is the trees. Everything is low brush, right? And even in this area here, it's a lot higher than over there where my son's vehicle was last seen. I've been in this desert a lot, so I can verify that wholeheartedly. The brush is very low for miles out from where my son, and then not only that, the area where his vehicle was found is on high ground. The ravine he was in was a 20-foot ravine, so it's down in the crevice. The only way you could actually see that vehicle down in that ravine, if you was to walk up to the edge of that ravine looking down into it, or you up in a helicopter or airplane or anything like that, because it's wide. As a ravine is low, but it's not like sharp deep. It's kind of open deep, and it's right there. You know, the drone footage, I wish I could pull that up, that they gave me from their pictures. How come they could see it with the drone, but they couldn't see it when they're all these sophisticated equipment and searches they did, if they did that with these cadaver dogs and everything else they did when they said they were searching for my son. So what I'm saying is, you guys, I'm going to pull it back off because all I did was right here trying to show you a little bit. I really wanted to play this tonight to show you guys how we do the searches out there in that, you know, the line searches and why it's so important to do the line searches out there. But what I'm saying is, you look at this picture behind me, you see how that brush right there, right here in this area right here between Daniel and that right here, this picture of Daniel, and right there, that's about the highest the brush in that whole area is. And then they kind of scattered out. It's almost like almost bare land. It was impossible for them to miss that helicopter, miss that that vehicle, a blue one at that, in the terrain, the color it is out there from the sky. itself. I put my drone in the air, and I could see volunteers on the ground with the drone. You know what I'm saying? And these are people wearing some wearing dark colors, to whatever, and they can be seen. So it's just excuses. Like I told you, anything to me, my family from the beginning, we asked for cell phone pings. We can't get it. We asked for camera footage of my son ever driving since he been here in Arizona. We can't find none. We asked for the Uconnect that's designed to tell the geolocations of that vehicle. We can't get that. I mean, nothing, literally nothing. When I get this, now I'm telling you the kicker to this. I get a cell phone. Detective Biffin told me he put his phone in the pocket from the scene, right? Because I was fussing at him about why my son, when they gave me that phone, my son's phone, why it's missing the memory card, why it's missing everything about this young lady, his side of the text messages, why everything except for her phone number and her name and her phone number, but everything else missing. His whole Google history, everything wiped out the phone. To them, that's no foul play. Man, ain't nothing to think about. That's just normal or something, I guess. So that's the kind of things I'm talking about, you know. So it don't matter what I find out about Daniel's situation. That's why I need a different agency. And I really think I can't even go to the FBI at this point. Now just have some little thoughts about certain things. I have the different agencies. Somebody have to do something or say something because it's common sense to me. You cannot tell me with everything that you see on this ground. My son has been missing over 10 months now. His cell phone memory card's missing, the phone been wiped, all this kind of stuff was going on, and you're trying to tell me you don't suspect no foul play. Like, come on now. Thank you so much for your question. The pump guy, saying stay and left and all that stuff. He still haven't been, from my understand, ever brought into state. It's the last person that's seen someone, and I tell you, they don't suspect nothing. Just like that's what I'm saying. They gave everything. They never did suspect any foul play. They never had a case or anything like that, because the first thing they would have done is that they really feel like something could have happened to my son. The last person that seen my son had to be investigated and really deeply look into his story and vet it. They should have been riding up and down that terrain just like I have on the videos I've created, and searching at his story and ride through that whole story and see how it don't make sense of what he is saying. And the timeline didn't work out with what he's saying. I know some stuff right now, you guys, like really, sometimes I'd be so itching to put out in the public that I know about this case. And that definitely would say a lot of things right now. So you guys just bear in there with me. Those things will come out eventually, and you guys will have those answers. Also, thank you, Miss Lynn, for being out here on this Q&A. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming out and being a part of this Q&A. And guys, I'm telling you, I'm going to keep on fighting. It's never going to stop. Thank you, Carolyn, for putting that out. 7th Street and McDowell. That's where you guys can pick up the flyers on Saturday at 3:15 p.m. Thank you so much, Carolyn. Go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. The information is there. 7th Street and McDowell. That's the Walgreens. It's the back of the parking lot of the Walgreens. So also, Brenda, thanks for being here. Thank you. Yeah. Well, you say Bill Gates is, it's also on the Howard Hughes. They out there building a smart city. So, yes, I'm sure they probably collab with each other. So that would be shocking to me. Thank you so much for being there. Christina Lynn, thank you so much again for coming out. Okay, you guys, I do have to go ahead and cut this Q&A because I can go here pretty much all night, and I almost can hear my team in the background saying, David, all right, it's time to put it up. Time to put it up. So thank you, Brenda, for being here on this Q&A. I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate your love, support, taking your time to be here. And if I miss your question, I apologize. I do have yours, Brenda. Did you ask them about the smart city, about Bill Gates? Well, I was told it was Howard Hughes, but if Bill Gates is part of that, I wouldn't doubt it. But I do know that Howard Hughes is definitely the one of the, I guess, the shareholder or whatever the case may be. But we'll be building that smart city out there. Well, they're at least trying to. But if those wells not producing what they're supposed to be doing, then they don't supposed to be doing that, because people build their homes there, and then they have to suffer because they don't have the water some years later for their families whenever They try to sell a house or whatever. They live there to raise their families. So thank you, Jen, for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let me see here. If I have any more questions, okay, I have a question here. AAP 512, would you be able to able to get Attorney Affairs involved with the case due to mishandling of Buckeye? Internal Affairs, I know the mayor of Buckeye and I think the chief of police have to pick these people for their internal affairs. I don't really believe in police investigating this themselves. And the reason why I say with this, and I'm not being critical about everybody and everything, but I have reasons to. I have been here since June the 26th, and you guys know I have been to the city council meeting twice now. You guys know that I have been writing Chief Hall, and every time I write Chief Hall, I will CC in emails along with attachment a letter. Also CC the city manager, the mayor, people like that, in Buckeye. And not one time did these people, the mayor, city councils, the city managers, even say hello to me. I went up to this, did this this whole meeting, that meeting they had, city council meeting they had, and I've been there twice. First time I just showed my face. Second time I said had spoke, and to this day they still haven't even emailed me back. They emailed me and say, "Hey, Ms. Robinson, thank you for coming to this city and helping us find our residents coming out there to support you, giving their money, their time, their effort, coming out to support you, and you guys are out there finding remains of other people and bringing them closure to their families in our city." You have hundreds of people since you've been out here, out there in that desert, passing out flyers and doing all kind of stuff, and they having the courtesy to even acknowledge that I'm here. So I wouldn't suspect that anything that comes out of Buckeye would be investigating themselves. I can almost say the results before it even happen. So I don't have any confidence in any of their internal affairs office or anything that had to do with Buckeye. So I have to, unless these people can change my mind on anything, I only can judge it by the fruit they bear. This is what they bear. This is what they do. This is the kind of impression they give me from day one. Just dealing with them. I'm not from South. I'm from South Carolina. I'm not from Arizona, and that's a bad taste in my mouth for a whole entire city who definitely could see that fathers out here on national television, have the news organizations come in that desert out there, coming into their office, talking to city managers, talking to the police department that they're paying, running and managing, and haven't even give a care to even send a card to say, "Hey, I'm sorry what happened to your son," or something. That just tell you how their mind frames is and who they are as a person, what their heart is really set on, and things like that. That's I was always taught, like I said, from where I'm from, your actions speak louder than your words. Just like my actions out here on this ground, working very hard, tirelessly, trying to fight for my son. These are my actions. I can say I love my son all day. If I don't do anything about my son being missing, or at least trying, ain't nothing but a bunch of words. Words don't mean nothing to me. That's all I say. These people that come out to these searches, helping me, you guys coming out here to this Q&A, trying your best to do everything you can to help me. That means something to me. Those are actions. You know what I'm saying? Actions mean a lot, the word to me. You can talk all day. It's almost like I know I'm not going to the Bible, but I am, because I do know the word. And it says, God said, "Hey, you honor me with your heart. You honor me with your mouth, but your heart is far from me." You can say, "Lord, I love you," all day. "Oh, Lord, I praise you." You can raise your hand, cry, and scream, whatever, but your actions speak louder than words. You don't care about that. You crying and throwing your hands and saying these swelling words. You care about your actions. Show me that you love me. Show me that you, like my son. I'm showing him that I love him. So I'm out here working hard for my son. I have a life, but my life is my son and my children, and I have to make sure they're okay, whether they're adults or not. Sometimes I want to do things. I'm a retired military guy. I want to go sit out on some beach. I'm not an Arizona guy. Not enough water here for me. I don't like being in Arizona. I can be honest with that. I want to be on the beach somewhere right now, sitting and let that Florida wind blow across my bald head. I really want that right now. But you know what? My son is more important. I had to put my life on hold and that's what I'm doing, and that's love. That's more, that's action. That's love in action. So love is the action words. You have to put your action to what you say with your mouth. Also, thank you, Shiro Nation, again, for being here. You guys, I really appreciate it. I really love the fact that you guys coming out here, and it means a lot. Tina Barr, thank you for being here on this Q&A, sharing your time. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to look at some of these new names. Crystal, thank you so much for being here in this Q&A, coming to YouTube. Thank you, New again. You know, you always there, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You guys in that moderation stage doing those things back there in the background. I really appreciate it. You know, having my back on those areas in the comment section, things that I don't get to see. You guys answer some of these questions and handle some of these big things like yourself, Gwen. Thank you so much. Please continue to share Dane's story. Thank you again for putting that up there and being a part of the moderation. Thank you, D-Love, for your question. Mr. Robinson, did a coworker last with Daniel drive a truck or a vehicle that could tow a vehicle or boat, etc.? Well, he had a utility vehicle when I saw him. When I came up there to ask him questions and talk to him, do my own investigation about what happened to my son, I wanted this man look me dead in my eye and tell me something that I didn't know about my own son, that he's telling me different. I know my son wouldn't do. I had to see this guy, and he drove a white vehicle. It was a white utility vehicle. That's all I can say about it. Whether it can tow anything and all that, I really don't know. So, but he did have a white truck. Also, thank you, long and short sentences, for being here again. Thank you for your prayers. I really appreciate it for you coming out and giving that positive energy. I need those positive energies all day and all night. I really appreciate it that you decided to do so. Thank you also, Pendar, I guess. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, well, you know, the brush is high enough in that area. I guess when I show you the video there, that's I was just showing you that on purpose. Yeah, in that area there, that's north of where my son's vehicles, north of his well site. That is a thicker area of the desert. What I was making the point is right there in this picture behind me is the different part of the desert. That brush is not high. I'm out there all the time, and the volunteers here on this Q&A will tell you the same. That area is not high. It's spread out. It's impossible for anything to get hit out. Anything. It's not enough trees or anything in the area. It just right there in the area of this brush. I'll use that example on the video to show you guys that even with that high brush, if volunteers are walking through that brush and there's a helicopter looking down at us, they can still see us on the ground. I was using that as an example. So why can't you see a vehicle if it was there, which it wasn't? Because the rancher said it wasn't. It was there. Let's say the rancher didn't say that, and the vehicle was there. Why you say you can't see that when the brush wasn't high at all? That's the point I'm trying to make, because it wasn't there. It wasn't there. It was planted there. So you guys, in my opinion, so you guys, that's what I'm saying about that. But thank you so much for being here on this Q&A and with your questions. So thank you very much. All right, I do have one from Nikki. Okay, almost the 2-hour mark. Nikki, and the question is, at the T-junction where Daniel coworker said that he took the left and went east. Well, actually, he said he took the right and went west. So when he came, wherever you talking about, he coming out from the well site, he took a right and went west. And went and have you check that area. I remember you turning right, which was headed west. Towards, then that's right, and that's exactly the way that he said he saw those tracks go. You said he could have only went in the direction you went. Okay, and so what happened is if you was following that along, we leave the well site. You come out from that well site. They say he was at. You have to down this short little path there. That's when you come to the first T junction. You got to go left, which will take you straight up north. That's north from south. You go up north to the second well site. That's up north. But he didn't say anything about the second. I didn't even know that well site existed until I started doing these searches. But at the well site, he left that well site. He had to turn right from that well site. Once he came out the well site, he had to turn right on the road that leads to that T junction you're talking about. Once you get to the T junction, that's two ways you can go. You can't go straight across. You only go left or you can go right. If you go left, you go back up to Sun Valley Parkway. You're good. You go back to the main road. If you go right, you go farther out into, well, he say farther out into the desert. Actually, you can, but you're not literally. That little dirt road curves around to a fence That's the fence he was talking about. You had to go through the fence. I didn't know at the time when he tell him the story, but now I do know. You do have to go through that fence. So that's the fence he said he came to. He had to go through that fence. He drove another mile. You drove another mile down the road, you would end up in the area we call the quarry area. The quarry area is where I told you it's wide open. Like I tell the lady I just talked to about the terrain over there. Wide open, brush is really low. That's where we have a lot of the volunteers meet down in that area, what we call the quarry area, but it actually is called a water retention area. But that's where we meet. But if you was to turn where we meet, you turn behind us, it's a hill that goes straight up. We got a path going because we go up so much now, but it's a hill there. He said he went up on this hill. I don't know which one of those hills. A lot of hills in that little spot. And he said he will look to go get a vantage point. But if you go that hill near the retention area, you'll find the area where this vehicle was found. That's where the vehicle was found, right over the other side of that hill. And so the guy at the well site, the worker, was saying that he followed Daniel's tracks. He stayed left to it. When he got to T-junction, he made that right. He went west, which is west, and farther out into that desert. He never did say he went left into the desert out there. So thank you, Nikki, for that for that question. And I'm glad I was able to clear that up for you on that. So if you guys have any more questions, please save it for Q&A on Friday. I am going to try my best to get out of here now. I'm strolling out really fast. So you guys have anything else, I apologize again. I have to go ahead and squeeze. I'll try to see if I could squeeze one before I actually push this button. But thank you all for coming in on the Q&A. I do have one for Pamela. Also, I see two back-to-back questions. Can you tell from direction of the ravine his Renegade went into? Well, that ravine goes north and south. And one thing I can tell you, if I move over to, let me see if I move over this way. If you look right here, you see where my tip of my finger is right here? That water flows. I wish I could make my finger go. I can't really do an orientation here. But water flows right down that ravine from the top where the vehicle is on top, through the top, go straight down where the bottom of the vehicle is, under the vehicle. How it's laying on the ground, that ravine runs straight down. That's north and south, right? So the vehicle, this is north and south, and the vehicle land on the north and south. So the river's running north and south, and the vehicle's just land across that north and south, basically, right? And so one thing that rancher said, and what made a whole lot of sense, if he's telling me reason why he was explaining to me that it wasn't raining hard that day. He said it didn't rain even 2 minutes. He was like, let me get right here. When it rains hard, this water comes through that ravine really heavy. It goes down to the Hacienda River, Raggino Wash area. That's where it dumps off to. But a lot of water comes down this ravine. So it'd be rushing water down through there, right? And if that vehicle was there, he said, show you on that rain day, it wasn't, first of all, enough significant rain. Other part, if it was out there for a long time, for 30 days, they did have, it just wasn't on the 23rd, but it had a significant rain, right? And that water would have been brushing all the debris that's coming down that water, with that water. I mean, branches, broken branches, dirt, mud, whatever. It would have been collected on top of that, right there with it, right across here. It would have been like a ring in a tub, in a sense. All that stuff would have been collected right there, because that vehicle would have been like a dam, in a sense, and it would have blocked some of that stuff, right? He was just using that example of how clean the vehicle. He said one of the things he noticed is that the vehicle's clean. He said in his mind, he thought whatever happened just happened because because the vehicle's clean. He's seen vehicles get abandoned out there. Like he's out there. He's fourth generation cattle rancher. He's out there all the time, as he said, and the vehicle was too clean, so it just happened, in his eyes. So yes, that's the direction that goes north and south. That ravine goes north and south. And if to answer that question, and I can already tell because I've been out there several times, so I do know that one, north and south. I do have a next question from Jazz Ragland. Thank you so much for that. Is there a way to see which area Dan's car came from based on the positioning? Yes, according to my investigator, he believed the vehicle came from the east. It came from the east, and it's still the way it's pointing right there is pointing west. And but it came from the east down that ravine and ended up there. The Buckeye Police Department have a map that's showing it coming from the west, going kind of southward a little bit. They come down the ravine and they say flip and roll and bounce. And then they got an accident reconstruction who said it came directly straight across from east to west. My investigator got it coming from northwesterly direction. So it depends on everybody's opinion on that, but you can see some kind of marking on the ground there. To this day, that would suggest that's the vehicle's track as it came down that ravine. So thank you guys for your questions on the night, this Q&A. I really appreciate the time that I had with you on the night. I really thank you so much. I will have to get off here. You guys know I will be back on Friday Q&A. Well, then again, I will probably not be doing Friday Q&A. I'll be in Vegas. I'll be out there for the CrimeCon event. So I may not be able to see you guys until Monday on the Q&A. If so, take care of yourself. I want you to have a great weekend, and keep God in your prayers in your life, and also take care of your families and keep them close. You never know. You always keep your family close and treat each other like it's it could be your last time. You never know. We all don't know how life is. One day you can be on your porch enjoying your retirement, and the next day you're out in the desert, looking for your son. So, life can change just like that. So, so don't take anything for granted, and, just love your loved ones, hold your people close by you, and try to get all, sometimes we have things and people may aggravate you and things like that, or, we're just human. We're going to have our spats and stuff like that, but make sure you always keep the people that you love real close to you at all costs, because you never know. So thank you guys. I love you all. Thank you for being here on the Q&A, and take care of yourself.